Hello, good morning, and many thanks indeed for joining us here on Morning Prime. It is the 6th of February 2023, and I'm glad that you've chosen KTN News as your channel of choice. You've had a lovely restorative week and a weekend, of course, I should say, and you're looking forward for a good week this week. Today is Monday. Every Monday we have Siasa Fiesta coming your way, where we take a critical look at the current state of play of politics in the country, and also harking back to the week that has been, how it has really panned out. As you saw it, the tax war continues to be ramped up from the side of Azimio, and also we have rejoinder from the Kenya Kwanza government as far as the tax is concerned. We also heard Mama Ngina speaking out on the tax issue as well, and this has been a catnip issue on the political arena that we'll be looking into. Also, we have the issue of the privatization of the university, and we have the unions now who are stoutly denying or stoutly against the privatization of universities. We'll be joined this morning by Senator Kongo Mogini, who is a senator of Nyamira County. We'll be joined as well by Senator Hilary Sige, who is the senator of Bomet, and we'll be joined by Wilson Susion, a politician, and Dr. Makali Mulu, who is Member of Parliament for Kitui Central. We have a packed show. You get to drive a show with me. Hit us on Twitter, KTN News. KE is our Twitter handle. Also, you can tag me along at KTN, at actually Dibala Nair, and KTN News is where you can peg your thoughts, your concerns, and you can pepper your questions as well. Let's put this horse into full run by looking at what is lining the front pages of the dailies today, beginning with a bold paper, and this is a standard. This is what you're waking up to on the front page of the Standard. Dreams at risk is what is a splash today. Wasted talent. About 1 million learners that sat KCP last year are expected to join Form 1 today. And despite government promise of 100% transition, bright students tear at missing good schools for lack of school fees. And their faces are all splashed here. We have George Edward, who scored 382 marks, and he was schooling at St. Mary's School, Yala. Also, we have Ekra Wangari. She scored 398 marks. She schooled at Mary Hill Girls High School. Fabian Omondi, 381 marks. He schooled at Kakamega High School. We have Emmanuel Mwenda, 366 marks. On Tuli High School, Wycliffe Onyango, 390 marks, Lenana School. Also, we have Fidel Mugumbi, 367 marks. Nyangori Boys High School, we have Velma Makungu, 362 marks. St. Mary's Mumias Girls, we have Ruth Warogoro, 342 marks. This is Mugumu Girls. Also, we have Christine Nyaboke, 300 marks. Bomamba High School, Regina Care, 339 marks. This is Shiners Girls in Nakuru. These are dreams which are at risks, and my Father, or may people always pray and say, my Father, may you come and see them through, calling on their God as well. And if there's good wishes there, well wishes, I think this will be a good time to swoop in and, of course, help them as well. Tax row, Raila says it's all witch hunt. Tax row, Raila says it's all witch hunt. Opposition leader Raila Odinga wants the government to stop harassing Mama Ngina Kenyatta and her family, saying Ruto has no mandate to determine taxes and should leave the matter to KRA. Also, inside today, you have health and science, and it's all about immune system. You can read all about it in today's Health and Science. A pull-out magazine comes in handy for you every Monday inside the Standard. Lecturer battles husband for 50-50 property share is another story that you want to follow inside the Standard this morning. City estates fast turning into slums. City estates fast turning into slums. That is on county pages. Or, yes, you can read on page 22 there to read all about these city estates that are turning out into slums. And food prices show signs of easing. At least there's some good light at the end of a tunnel as far as food prices is concerned. Fight for justice, Pop tells clerics, and you can follow that story on page 29 of the bold paper. This is how it looks this morning. Make sure you grab a copy for yourself. Also, Shame of mass graves amid empty promises. In northern Kenya, dogs and vultures are devouring plenty of meat while farmers agonize despite pledge that livestock uptake project would save them. This story is tucked away on page 6 of the Standard this morning. Let's see what is on the front page of the Daily Nation. Arrest me. Raila dares president. This is what you're waking up to on the front page of the Daily Nation today. Kibra declaration. As Azimio Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party leader Raila Odinga has dared President William Ruto to arrest him as he signaled looming demonstrations and declared he will not relent in his push to install a government of the people. You have this story on page 5 of the Daily Nation this morning. Also reading the flagger there, we have politics opposition chief also accuses Ruto of victimizing former President Uhuru Kenyatta. I won't relent in pursuit of tax evaders. This is what President Ruto is saying. President William Ruto has vowed that his administration will not relent in its push to have everyone pay taxes, while insisting that the era of powerful personalities using their influence to secure tax waivers is long gone. This story is on page 4 of the Daily Nation this morning. And Form 1 starts reporting to their schools today amid congestion, fears. Are MPs the luckiest in salary reviews? A Nation analysis says so, and this is on the back page of the Daily Nation this morning. MPs enjoy pay rises as others crept by. MCAs have joined parliamentarians in calling for more pay as other workers' salaries barely rise. That is a story that you want to follow on the back page of the Daily Nation this morning, where there's a good tabulation on the minimum wage since 2017 to 2022 and what MPs are looking for. That is on the front page of the Daily Nation as a teaser, and you have the full analysis there at the back page of the Daily Nation. Also, Alama's killer building farm bags 20 billion shillings housing tender. Alama's killer building farm bags 20 billion shillings housing tender. A local construction firm embroiled in controversy over the collapse of a building in Nandi County that killed one person and injured 6 others has bagged a lucrative 20 billion shillings government housing deal. EPCO Builders Limited was contracted to deliver 5,360 affordable housing units in Machakos County. The Mavoko project sits on 55 acres housing and urban development. It sits on 55 acres. Housing and Urban Development Principal Secretary Charles Hinga said the project will be completed in 4 years. And also, how Lake Basin Agency bosses schemed to steal retirees' benefits. You can read all about it on page 10 of the Daily Nation this morning. This is how it looks. Up next, we have the Star. Raila scales up revolt as Ruto digs in on taxes. Raila scales up revolt as Ruto digs in on taxes. Rebellion, ex-PM unveils new youth movement, lines up more rallies. President says era of tax waivers long gone in apparent attack on Kenyatta's. That story continues on page 4 and 5 of the Star this morning. Government has disbursed 36 billion shillings to schools, and this is what the president says. We can see the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, President William Ruto and Bishop Makaruki during a service at Deliverance Church International Rwai in Nairobi yesterday. Praise the Lord is what we have also as a caption reading here. On the side, we have Luo politics. Raila Odinga tops advisors shift to Ruto and Owalo's side. ODM leader Raila Odinga's strategic Luo Nyanza elite squad seems to be migrating towards the President William Ruto's axis, with the Information, Communication and Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary Eliud Owalo as the principal architect and prime mover. Owalo once served as Raila's head of campaign and chief strategist. Also focused, we just go back there to show you what we had on the front. There's some good news as far as rains are concerned. Focus long rains to begin early next month. The long rains will begin in the second week of March, the weatherman has announced. The rains will begin in western Kenya, but will reach most parts of the country only beginning in April. However, the rain will be below average. Well, that is, it seems to be the sting at the end of a tale there. Good news, but it will be a bit suppressed. You can read all about this on page 9 of the Star today. Parents, teachers making grade 7 pupils dodge CBC. Some parents in Garissa are colluding with teachers to register grade 7 children for the KCP exams to evade CBC. Some officials have said learners in grade 7 are the pioneers of a junior secondary system. And you have the story on page 23 of the Star today. On top here, looking at the teaser, cop allegedly wounds relative in pub, family demands arrest. Cop allegedly wounds relative in pub, family demands arrest. That story continues on page 3 of the Star today. Another a barroom brawl that ensued there. We buckle down to the People Daily. Tax battles or tax battle hots up. That is a splash you're waking up to on the front page of the People Daily today. Ruto not backing down. President says he is building consensus to remove tax waivers and encourage every citizen to pay taxes and reduce Kenya's national debt. Relady defends former First Family. Azimio leader accuses Kenya Kwanza leaders of unfairly targeting the Kenyatta or the Kenyatas and politicizing tax debate. You have the story on page 4 of the People Daily. And we could see some pictures here. President Ruto is saying, I'm asking you, don't you pay taxes? When you go to buy Kimbo, don't you pay tax? When you buy bread, don't you pay tax? And you can be seen here by holding court with Bishop Mark Kariuki, welcoming him to Deliverance Church International. Rai for a church service. The president revisited the tax debate in church. Alongside that picture, we have Azimio leader Raila Odinga in a rally at Kamukunji grounds in Kibra, Nairobi yesterday. He criticized Ruto over taxation plans and appointment of new IEBC bosses. He says, quote unquote, let KRA do their job. Let them, that is President Ruto and Gachagua, not bring politics into the issue of paying taxes. That is how it went down yesterday. Also, we have tough traffic rules targets reckless road users. Read all about it on page 8 of the People Daily. Parents cry over high cost of Form 1's reports to class as Form 1 reports to class. That is the story that you want to follow on page 2 of the People Daily. Taifa Leo. Gusa uhuru uone. Raila mkanya Ruto kumwandama mtangulizi wake kwa madai halipi ushuru, akisema Kenyatta anastahili heshima. That is what the flag reads there. Mapambano continues. Odinga aidha azundua vuguvugu jipya la MDD kwa lengo la kulazimisha serikali itimize ahadi zake kwa raia na kukuza demokrasia. That story continues on page 2 of Taifa Leo. Business Daily is up next. Mauritius private equity firm in talks to fully acquire Java. That is what we have as a splash this morning. UK-based fund Actis seeks to exit coffee chain. Mauritius company also owns stake in Quickmart. It says here that Mauritius-based private equity firm Adenier Partners is in discussion to fully acquire restaurant chain Java House in a transition that could hit 3 billion shillings amid heightened deal making in Kenya's hospitality sector. You can follow the story inside the Business Daily this morning. 4.5 billion shillings, that is Swiss debt behind tripling of stamp tax. I'm just looking at the teaser there, or the ticker. Airtel books additional 2.5 billion shillings in tax savings. Airtel Kenya used up an additional 2.5 billion shillings worth of deferred tax credits on its books to save on payments due to the taxman in the quarter ending December 2022, pointing to a return to profitability in the near term. Also, NSE investors lose 164 billion shillings in state-run firms. Investors who have recorded, or it says investors have recorded a wealth erosion of 164.1 billion shillings over the past 5 years from 7 companies where the government has a controlling stake or major influence. The paper losses, most of which are likely to be permanent given the financial condition of the companies such as Kenya Airways and Kenya Power. You have that story on page 14 of the Business Daily. Dungu's stake in Sports Farm risks seizure without pay. Dungu's stake in Sports Farm risks seizure without pay. And this, it says here, is the fight over Sports assets and business has taken a new twist after entrepreneur Paul Wanderi Ndungu and Asenath Washera Maina were expelled as shareholders of the betting company's holding firm at zero compensation for their stakes. You have that story on page 2 of the Business Daily this morning. Well, we shall be looking at the East African and also the New Times in Rwanda as well, as we continue with the conversation here on Standing Point, just looking at the current state of play on what is happening currently with the tax wars. That is a debate that will continue, and I know you've had a belly full of it, but let's see how it will turn out. And I just want to welcome legislators back to the show. They've been away for a while. Induction in Mombasa. Also, we had committees meeting as well in Mombasa. They can just bring us up to speed on what really transpired there, what are some of the deliberations were put on the table, and to just give us a feel and flavor of the debate that we do have on the podium right now with Azimio, with their rallies. Let me just welcome Mheshimiwa Makalemulu. Doctor, good morning, good to see you.
Yeah, morning, Dibab.
Yes, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
2 weeks.
We went down to Mombasa.
We've missed you.
We are trainees. We are being trained. So we took 2 weeks there. Week 1 was more of an internal session.
Yes.
Where new members were being taken through what takes to be a good, we say effective member of parliament. And this focus more on what you do in a committee. If you are a member of a committee, what do you do? Issue to do with rules and procedures. Issues to do with how do you conduct yourself as a member of parliament when you're interacting with your own people and other people, both in Kenya and out of Kenya. So very, very good discussions, the BAL. Even some of us who have been in parliament for quite some time.
Yeah.
We learned a lot. Actually, week 2 then focused more on Kenya as a country being a member of the Commonwealth Association. Then how do we relate as Kenyan members of parliament? Anytime we interact with other members of parliament who come from areas which were at one point colonies of UK. So it was a very good sessions, a lot of work, but you are aware the first two days were interrupted because of the demand for CDF, because we did say that it was not good that we were enjoying ourselves there to some extent, living in a 5-star hotel, while the children, and you can see that has been confirmed by all the papers. Most of the bright students who have done very well are not able to join school, basically because parents are facing challenges. And we were saying the support they get through CDF bursaries should not be delayed anymore. But after a bit of consultation with the executive, some money was released and some promises were made. So with that kind of relief, we got back to class. So actually, I'm sure if the new members comment, they will tell you they have learned a lot. It was a very good session. People are very committed. I could see members sitting all the way from 9 to about 6 on a daily basis. So it means that there was really a great interest in terms of people learning what happens in Parliament. And I hope that now that we've learned, people will apply what we've learned in terms of day-to-day job, because, you know, learning is totally different from applying what you've learned. So I do believe when we get back to Parliament next week, because we are resuming next week, members of Parliament will be now more effective in the committees and also in the plenary in terms of how they conduct themselves. Members of Parliament will be very good when they go, because there was a topic on a member of parliament and the diplomacy. So that anytime you go out there, you must learn that anytime you leave the borders of Kenya, you become a Kenyan. You don't go out there as a member of parliament for which place you are Kenyan there. You go out there as a member of which, you don't go out there as a member of any political party. So that when you go out there, then you know anything you do there is the image of Kenya. So that was also a very interesting topic. And members have been, to some extent, being told when you go out there, then be careful how you conduct yourself. And
you are our ambassadors. Yes.
Yeah, you become an ambassador, and you should be carrying even, to some extent, you should also be able to tell out people out there what is Kenyan foreign policy, what do we stand for, and then also the issues of promoting trade between Kenya and other countries, because we have a lot of opportunities as a country, opportunities in the economic sector, opportunities in the tourism sector, even opportunities in the cultural sector, and all these things, so that when people go out there, then you market the country. It could be for the benefit of all of us. And so we did learn a lot. And I think really it's something which should always happen to new members of parliament. In the past, we have been having 1 week and then a break a bit, then you come back again for another week. This time, 2 weeks combined. At the end of the,
yes.
Yeah, at the end of the day, people felt like they were getting a bit tired, but I think it was worth it. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And of course, the issue of NGCDF became a very ticklish issue that at some point you were demanding that to be reinstated, or you will walk away.
Actually, the issue is that CDF has already been reinstated. That one we're in agreement. The issue was the funds not being released, because you remember, when we went on recess in December, early December, the promise was that every 2 weeks we'll be getting some 2 billion to the national CDF board account. We then should be able to be sent to the constituencies. As at the time of the training, only 4 billion had been sent by the government, instead of, again, expectation of about 16 billion. So members were saying this was not good for the country, because this was communicated officially by the speaker in the House. And you know, when a speaker makes an official communication, it is binding. Some members were saying, how come then you are taking us for a ride? You promise, you don't deliver. We are aware that we are facing some economic hardships, but I think courtesy demands that you explain what is happening. So that's why members were not happy with what was happening, and they said, we want an explanation. Initially, the House leadership attempted, members could not listen, but at the end of the day, when the speaker came down, after consulting the other offices, that is the president and the rest of the executive, he came with some information could be relied on, so some agreement. So we were told what would be sent to the accounts.
Okay.
It was sent, and then we were also told what should be sent, although as at that time the promise was that last week by Tuesday, we were to get additional 2 billion to the account.
Yes.
I've seen communication that money doesn't seem to have gotten to the account. And I can see that it's likely to cause more problems when we meet next week. But I think it will be explained. So
yeah.
The push was basically because of what we are seeing, that schools are opening.
Yes.
I'm telling you, some of us are not able to sleep, because even midnight you are getting calls. Parents saying, you know, I'm supposed to take my child to school. I've not done it because I have no money. And we understand, because you remember last year was very bad for most of the parents in the country in terms of drought, in terms of lack of food.
Yeah.
So when they say really they don't have fish, they mean it. And you can see from I've just been looking at the headlines in terms of the standard. And you know, this is really this tells you what Kenya has gone through. When you look at these names in the BAL, they don't come from one area. They come from all over Kenya. Which means this is a national issue. It's no longer a regional issue or a tribal issue. It's a national issue that every parent in Kenya, irrespective of where they come from, they are facing challenges. So let's focus more on things which benefit our people. And that's why I'm saying, really, this should be treated as a matter of national interest, a priority, so that we don't have bright students missing from one. These are our future leaders. These are our future engineers, our future doctors. Although you saw yesterday also doctors after training for that long, they are still out there not getting any employment. So really, as a country, I think we have issues, and we will get to a round table, discuss these issues, and see how to go around them. Otherwise, I don't think it's a country on the right
Indeed.
track.
Right, let's hear from Hilary Sige. Good to see you as well. It's been a, look, 2 long weeks.
Yes. Good to see you too.
But as senators, we went separately on a different agenda altogether.
Yes, although on the second week we also were having a similar program with the National Assembly, particularly on a program on the Commonwealth Parliamentary Group. But otherwise, on the first week, we had a different agenda. We indeed didn't do the whole 2 weeks ourselves. We did the first few days of the first week with the committees, and then the second week was now the whole Senate. And well, as Honorable Makali put it, it was a good session. It gave us an insight of what is expected of a legislator. It also gave us a challenge in terms of, well, the expectation by the public, the expectation by also the leaders who are expected beyond just the call of duty to get to the floor of the House, debate issues, and, you know, everything to do with the life of a leader. And it was a good 2-week program that I believe back in office now. We are resuming on the 14th, which is the next week. I believe we will be better, we'll be more productive, we'll be more engaging on national issues, which are very key and relevant to what one of which Honorable Makali has said, the main issues that affects the country, the main issues that we need to deal with. And more importantly, on also legislation towards making sure that a number of these things where there is concern, we are able to have legislative programs on them, so that we take Kenya to the next level. I believe that the kind of goodwill that has been exhibited by Kenyans in supporting the government of the day, in supporting the programs that are also set up, is going to go a long way when we have now a leadership that has already been prepared to deal with all the legislative agenda items, to deal with the main issues, to deal with going back to school, to deal with the economic improvement, which is one of the greatest challenge, to, of course, deal with the tax element, that is a conversation that is cutting across. And more importantly, we are aware that today schools are resuming, and there are a lot of challenges. There are teething problems, which both as a parent and as a legislator and as a kid is something that we cannot ignore going forward. And so, Dibal, it is true that, the National Assembly had some very good time. 2 weeks is quite a long time. At the time of closing, I know a number of us were already looking forward to getting back to office and rolling our sleeves to work. Remember, we have also been on a long recess, running from December through to the whole of the month of January, which, unfortunately, from a perspective of a first-time legislator, was not really a recess, because I noticed that during this period there was much more committee work than what we would see as a session where people have taken time to rest, because the business of Parliament is transacted in committees. And during this period, we had more sessions as committees, we had more engagements on the issues that will now be taken to the floor of the House upon resumption. And so it was really not, I wouldn't say it was a period of recess. It was a period to allow the members to transact heavy lifting of what now committees are supposed to bring to the floor of the House when we resume next week. But above all,
so indeed, you're not in a recess, so to speak.
We haven't been.
You went back to work, and we're just waiting now to show up in Parliament next week.
Oh yes, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, great. We shall be discussing also this development that is new with the court ruling. We had the National Assembly. I think the senators were seeking, the adversary from the court regarding the upper house and the lower house, and that now has been stated or reinstated by the courts again. So we'll see what is the way forward in terms of this fight that has been ongoing since the installation of a constitution still. And I want to welcome Okongo Mogini. Good morning.
Yes, morning.
Yes, how are you?
I'm good, Dibal.
Yes?
Nice to see you this morning.
We missed you last week. Welcome back.
Yeah, I'm sure you had somebody holding brief in our absence.
How's Nyamira?
Nyamira is doing fine. Could do better, but we are doing fine. we are still waiting to feel the impact of the 100 days in office of the Wood administration, because when you talk to the people ground, there was really a lot of expectation that in 100 days a lot would happen, but we are yet to feel, you know, the mama mboga on the ground, the border. These people you are seeing here, the students who are meant to join Form 1, they have not felt really the change. So I hope as we clock 6 months after elections, the Wood administration has a feel on what is happening on the ground. Otherwise, they will lose the people very fast. So Nyamira is doing fine, but people are suffering. You know, the state of unemployment still remains the same. Access to health care is still a problem. There is an emerging serious problem between Nyamira and our neighboring county of Bomet, problem of cattle rustling that had really gone down during the last regime, but is now really back with a bang, and people are spending sleepless nights. So there's also a breakdown of law and order. We don't know why there is a resurgence in cattle rustling, but that's the situation as I speak to you today. That's the situation on the ground. There's a very big slowdown on construction of roads, where companies are mobilized to start tarmacking of roads. Those companies have since withdrawn from the ground. They have demobilized and taken away the machines. So I don't know what vision Uda has for us as Nyamira, but that's the position on the ground. They are also still waiting for their seat of Solicitor General. So in brief, that is the situation. Mambo kwa ground. That is mambo kwa ground. And I forgot to also tell you that for the first time, after a very long time, these are the issues we are getting from Wananchi. The Kisii region has been left out on the bonus, the main bonus. Other regions where our friend DP comes from, in Mount Kenya, they are getting the main bonus, payment for tea delivery to the factories. But for reasons that maybe I want somebody from Muda to explain to us, Nyamira region has been left out. Farmers have not been paid the main bonus. And that's actually what makes it worse. You know, it compounds the problem of trying to raise fees to take children back to school. Yeah.
Maybe it's still rolling out, still, you know, very early in the day to say that.
It seems like there is something that we have been singled out for non-payment of the main bonus for reasons that I really don't understand. I would like to know why our region has been singled out. I don't know what's happening in Bomet, but in Kisii region, in Nyamira region, tea farmers have been left out of the main bonus, tea payments. That's the situation on the ground.
Senator Segei, how is it in Bomet? Have they been paid yet?
I'm actually surprised. I would be very keen to pick more information from Malan and Senior Commissioner Senator Okongo, because I am aware that there is payment that's going on. It began a while back. In fact, I had a meeting on the 23rd of last month with the KTN representation, which part of the representation was from Nyamira. Remember, there is a bill that I've drafted to amend the 2020 Tea Act, and we had a session with both the Eastern and Western team of representation, and they were saying the payment should have slightly been hauled so that it comes in now when the opening switch, because that time, that was 3 weeks ago, payments had begun. And I did not, and I haven't heard of any region or any zone that has been singled out. I would be very happy to also find out more about it so that that is picked up, because part of what is in that bill is to do with the rights of a farmer in terms of getting what is rightfully theirs as a farmer, and among other things, of course, what Masini said. But otherwise, I'm aware that farmers in Bomet have received actually the bonuses.
Thank you. Let me rope in Wilson Sossion. Good morning, good to see you.
Yeah, good morning.
Also, yesterday you were on the road coming from Bomet as well.
Yes.
So you share the same weather as well, of course, with Senator Sigay. Oh, you did it apart, right? Okay, thank you. You can use this.
We share the same oxygen.
You share the same oxygen.
Which Omogene borrows once in a while.
Okay. There's, I don't know, first of all, I just wanted to tell me, you've been following these rallies as well. The issues of taxes has become very poignant right now. But more primarily, before we even go to the taxes issues, we have the unions. And I know this is a debate we also had last week. And according to you, last week you had no inkling at all on where the privatization of universities is coming from for the public universities. And right now, of course, we know the unions, they are decrying that. And we had the CS, Moses Kuria, who came up with that particular, who was mooting that particular idea. What is your reaction?
No, I think we've said time and again, and I think it's not good as a country to be slaves of ideological thinking of individuals away from government policy. Government policy, as far as we are aware, and that of the current government that developed and negotiated a very good charter for the entire education sector, and there is a presidential working party right now with very clear terms of reference. And one sector that is being focused on is the university education.
Yes.
And our Kenyan public universities must be brought back on its feet. And a number of reforms are being undertaken. One of them, I'm not aware of privatization. It's not anywhere near. It's not part of the charter. It's not even part of this government. That was just but loud thinking. It's not what was negotiated in the charter, and it is also not being canvassed at the presidential working party level. What is being done is to look for long-term solutions to our universities working in terms of funding, and of course, you know the doubling of our education loans board to enhance access by many students from the poor households, as we've seen. If we have problems in secondary education, what of universities in terms of poor households? And you can imagine the barriers that will be created by privatization. So essentially, the public universities will have to be more funded and managed well to deliver quality teaching. And privatization is not one of them. And I dare say, certain sectors do not need to be privatized whatsoever, because of the critical nature of its operations. One, education is a fundamental human right and is a critical social service that this government has committed itself, and I'm sure governments of the future will not dare move the direction of privatizing public institution within the education sector. That should not happen. The other sector that should not be privatized whatsoever is health. So the two social services are critical, just like you cannot privatize security. So really, the university unions have come out very strongly, and I think this clarification has come from the ministry that nobody is intending to privatize, and I don't think Kenya Kwanza government is doing that. What Kenya Kwanza government is doing is to enhance funding to the universities, to fix the serious challenges that universities are facing, and number two, even to come up with the Kenya Open University to open access. If you look at the KCSE exams, those who have attained C+ and above is now a huge number, 173,000. And our exams will have to be managed prudently in future to allow a greater transition. You see, in strong economies in the global north, university transition is almost at 60%. But here, we were talking, it had been suppressed by some previous ministers who masqueraded to have been doing a good job, but they destroyed the children of this country. You cannot use exams to destroy children. We use exams to create hope for children and to facilitate transition. So I would want to believe that the Ministry of Education in the new government will be dealing with examinations very well to ensure that, one, they're credible, there's no cheating, and they are properly moderated so that we have a bigger number of students transiting to universities, some on government sponsorship and others on self-sponsorship. Would like to turn around the universities and see them working and see them running with minimal minimal challenges, and that is what needs to be seen within the next couple of years. So, in short, the issues of privatization that should not even be a big debate, that should not attract much attention in this. Those are just ordinary thinking of democratic Kenyans. But of course, there are matters of constitution and fundamental international statutes. Education remains a fundamental human right, and I don't think Kenya is anywhere near imagining or thinking privatizing our universities. We must make our universities the best to facilitate access of higher education to poor households and to ensure that there is equity and quality in delivery of education. And it's not only universities. We are talking about higher education, including TVET. And the biggest area of investment that this country to turn around the economy and industrialization is investing in TVET. And this will eventually lead to at least 100% transition from Form 4 to university. We'd like to turn around our human population into an economic asset to transform the economy within and also to export labor to the diaspora.
Right, thank you. Lasun, there is a very interesting editorial cartoon there on, I think, the People Daily today. Teen pregnancies and drugs, sex education, teach them. Charity starts at home, teach them. And we've seen this, I think it's doggedly following the recent videos, or the video that was actually doing rounds, as far as we saw teachers in, I think it was in Kisii, it was actually in Kisii region there. I don't remember the county itself primarily. It was actually in Kisii County. It has really sparked a lot of debate, and I would love just to hear from you. When you saw that particular video, I hope you came across it.
And there are many more.
And there are many more others.
There are many more.
Yes. What was the reaction?
If we are to report what students do, the students' habits and what they do within the school system, it will jam the entire country. These are active young citizens and young.
But just digging deep on the particular incident, because we know the teachers have been.
But if we get down to the particular incident, the unfortunate bit is that it was recorded and reported. But going to Itumbe Primary School and trying to check and interrogate exactly what happened is that the particular students in question that were played in the clip, or pupils, were found naked in a thicket engaged in these activities. And you know, in psychology, we say, mangi si, mangi do. Now, as teachers, when students engage in such activities, what really do you do? What's the remedy? We can't allow, you are not allowed to cane. And I think what was going on, the whole activity, we witnessed an episode of investigation by teachers. Teachers were trying to investigate. Yes, what happened? What did you see? What can you demonstrate? Those were the good hearts of teachers trying to cap a vice that was being performed by students. And we witnessed such very many cases all over the country. Remember, those were standard 2. But
this was standard 2?
Yes, those were standard 2 pupils. What of sexual vices that you witness at the highest level of teenagers in secondary school, ranging from actual oral sex and other sex orientation, the LGBT things that are coming into the country now. And when you look at that cartoon, somebody is talking about sex education, because people want to bring other orientations into our society, like the LGBTs. And this, we'll have to be conscious. I think what should have been done at Itumbe Secondary School it was wrong to sensationally mob lynch the teachers through the social media and an intimidated TSC to look like they're acting executed some bit of interdiction from the top. What needs to be done is to investigate at that level. And that required concerted efforts of the Ministry of Education, TSC, and the security agencies.
But did they require to demonstrate what they were doing?
Yes, but it was done the other way around. Teachers needed to have been assisted to know exactly what was happening and what was the intention and how best should teachers be assisted to manage such vices when they confront them. But when you turn around and you demonize teachers, very soon teachers will keep away from such wayward behavior. They will teach and go home. This is the time that this society needs to reason more with teachers and work more with teachers to deal with this breakdown in values and value systems. And if I may ask, where are these young learners as young as age 2 witnessing and copy pasting and performing these particular activities? And I said, Mangi see, Mangi do. We no longer have values at the family level. What the kids see at home is what they practice in school, and that is why it's posing more challenges to teachers. To me, those teachers are innocent, and they remain innocent, and that particular matter needs to be dealt with administratively within the school. But the aspect of disciplining teachers was wrong. It's not right, because we are yet to witness more. There will be more agencies coming around to ask us to promote LGBT rights. And LGBT rights will be seen in school. It will come through students with the rights to the LGBT issues, masturbation, and
we get it.
Same-sex things.
I get the drift.
Are these the values we would like to promote in this country? I think we're a morally right country that believes in the existence of God. And therefore, these are things we need to deal with them soberly without mob lynching teachers. That was wrong. The approach was wrong.
So the approach was wrong. I want just to hear from Dr. Makali, because I think we are facing an inundation right now of a mass culture that we are woefully inadequate and prepared to actually handle. The teachers were actually on the sharpest horn of a dilemma on how to approach the whole issue. And according to Susion, it was a bit heavy-handed on their side. They were trying to remedy a situation. Maybe they didn't act in the wisest of fashion on trying to, put the children in that particular posture that we saw and was doing around the social media. But then how do we awaken ourselves to the reality that there is a dawn of new values, so to speak, in quotes, that is creeping into our society? And if our young children at the age of 2 can actually be subjected and caught in a thicket, and these are not boys and girls, these are actually just boys.
They were naked.
Yeah, caught naked in the thicket, and these are verified reports according to you.
Verified.
Yeah. Then it seems there's something which is really broken with our system of values. We need to come up together as parents, as teachers, as a nation, to actually,
Actually, when I saw that in the social media, I felt like initially I thought the teachers were really being harsh on the pupils. But now listening to Honorable Susion, I think I'm changing my mind. Because, the thing is, what we saw was like a demonstration of what was happening. I didn't see the other side, that maybe the real act had taken place. Now they were being told, show us how you are doing it, for purposes of possibly guiding them. But all said and done, I think the issue is, when you look at our values as a country, and I think that's what I've said this many times in most of these shows, that our value system in this country, we need to make it a national discourse. That we come out of our, most of us are still hibernating, pretending that nothing is happening, the truth of the matter is a lot is happening in this country, And there's influence of the print media, there's influence of the social media, there is influence of the television. And you know, at times I sit in my house and watch what the small ones are doing. You find a kid who doesn't even know how to talk is able to use this to use a mobile phone. They can go to the cartoons and play, and they don't even know how to talk. So I think we really need to sit down and say, as Kenyans, what do we want for our kids? And this should be informed by our own cultural orientation. You know, like Honorable Sossion is saying, a child born in US is totally different from a child born in Kenya, more so from a cultural orientation, from also the background. And the truth of the matter is, if we want our children to be like those ones in the US, then let's not complain when we see such things. But if we really want to say we are a Christian country, we need to stick strictly to Christian teachings, Christian upbringing. Then as a country, we also need then to stick in terms of the laws we bring to this land, in terms of the control and the regulatory systems we have. Because, you know, the thing is, if these things are being displayed all over the place publicly, then why do we want to say that our children cannot practice them? And I've said, I think, I'm not an IT expert, I don't know that it's impossible to demand that there should be a bit of a control. For example, there should be sites which you cannot access depending on your age. And if you are found to access them, there should be a punishment also mechanism, so that to some extent you deter people from really seeing everything they want to see. So for me, I'm not an education expert, but really listening to the experts like Honorable Sossion, who has really been in this sector for almost all his life, I think it's high time we give people like him time to guide us in terms of how to address some of these things. You know, the teachers have not been suspended. I don't know, suspended, those acts have all been suspended, interdicted. And the truth of the matter is, you don't know whether any investigation was done before, because I don't know the time they were suspended and the time the act did happen. I don't know whether there was time even to do a bit of investigation to find out what happened. Maybe somebody just, to take care of the public, you know, outcry, you just say, let's suspend all of them, then before we start an investigation. But I think also that becomes very discouraging. Imagine the other teachers in the country, when they see their colleagues going through that, what will happen then? They will also say, I would rather not act. Let me become an observer. And you can imagine a teacher becoming an observer in a school where they teach. Things will get very bad. So, to me, I think this is an area really we need as leaders, because we sit here, we are all leaders. As leaders, we really start guiding this debate and make it a national discourse, so that as Kenyans we agree, what do we want with our education system, what are the don'ts and what are the should be done, so that at the end of the day, then we stop blaming each other for things we can easily do away with.
Right, thank you. Well, we want to take a short break, then we come with you, just pick your brains, Hilary Sigay, with that particular news and the information that we get from Honorable Sossion. I think also we have a different orientation on our thoughts regarding that particular clip. But the person also who took that particular clip is the one who set the motion, you know, for people to react really on social media vehemently and stoutly denying that that should not have been given a sporting chance to be trolled on social media, because these are children. And, you know, once they get traumatized like that, it can actually affect adversely the mental health as well. So we take a short break. When we circle back, we continue with more, with that debate on the tax wars and also the Senate and the legislators, that is the senators and MPs, all of them are legislators, regarding who has the